Glorious performance that was. Could we please hear a collective thunderous applause for that incredible performance and those meaningful insights, Mrs. Jain, specially curated to mark the 25th edition of the ET Awards for Corporate Excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going live. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cyrus Saukar. I will be your host for the evening. Before we start the show, I would request everyone to keep their phones on silent, ideally face them down, unless, of course, you're quickly Googling who I actually am. If yes, then please go ahead. Wow, 144 phones have just popped up. Hashtag hurt. Anyway, back to the show. Tonight is going to be unlike any ET Awards you all have ever seen. We have so much in store for you all, and I'm so excited about what we're going to experience together at this marvelous historic venue. I'm also extremely kicked about the special dinner curated by the talented Rahul Akerkar that's waiting for us at the other end of this evening. But I'll hold my horses for now. Now, last year, when we honored L&T Chairman A.M. Nayak with a Lifetime Achievement Award, he came on stage and said, "Hey folks, I have won the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan, but the award I have truly waited for my whole life has been the ET Award." That's the extraordinary heritage of this institution. Yeah, you please, round of applause, please feel free, ma'am. Thank you. From Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani to Dr. Varghese Kurian, from Satya Nadella to Indra Nooyi, from Fakir Chand Kohli to Rahul Bajaj, icons of Indian business have held up the ET Award, beaming with pride, just as we will witness tonight from our winners. So without further ado, first up, thank you all so much for being here. It is very gracious of you all. We are very happy you all are here. And let's take a quick look at the gilded history of these awards.
For more than 6 decades, the Economic Times has been far more than just a newspaper. It has been a beacon of business excellence and a trusted authority. In the 1990s, the Economic Times turned salmon pink, a bold transformation that signified its commitment to world-class business journalism. From chronicling historic shifts to shaping thought leadership and fostering a culture of excellence, the Economic Times has continually set the agenda for India's corporate and economic landscape. Since 1998, the Economic Times Awards for Corporate Excellence has become the ultimate symbol of prestige, honoring those who redefine industries, set new standards, and inspire generations. A stage that captures every twist and trend in India's business journey, witnessing comebacks, disruptive innovations, and extraordinary sagas of ambition. But beyond the accolades, the Economic Times Awards are a grand confluence of power and progress. A prestigious gathering where titans of industry, trailblazing entrepreneurs, eminent policymakers, influential bureaucrats, and icons from the world of culture and entertainment come together. As we mark 25 glorious years of the Economic Times Awards, we stand at the cusp of a new era, one where leadership and excellence will shape the destiny of a rising India.
I am Biprajit Datta and I work as an associate analyst in cybersecurity team. मैं त्रिपुरा से हूँ. पापा बेसिकली फार्मिंग ही करते हैं. बचपन में इकोनॉमी के लिए मतलब स्टडी करने के लिए पैसा नहीं था उस टाइम.
I decided to take him Agartala, staying with me and guide him.
बीसीए करने के कुछ दिन बाद कॉलेज से मुझे कॉल किया, डेलोइट त्रिपुरा में आ रहे हैं.
Collaborating with NELIT and coming down to Tripura Heartland is a very good initiative or a novel initiative on part of Deloitte.
2 months की ट्रेनिंग हुआ, उधर से 40 स्टूडेंट को सिलेक्ट किया. 6 मंथ इंटर्नशिप हुआ. सबका काम की बेसिस में हम लोग का सबका ऑफर लेटर मिल गया. तो मतलब मुंबई डेलोइट ऑफिस में आ गए. मम्मी पापा को बोला लाइक बहुत बड़ा कंपनी में मेरा जॉब लग गया. इन लोगों का रिएक्शन था लाइक कितना पैसा देगा. कभी ऐसे सोचा नहीं कि बड़ी शहर में जाके मैं काम करूँगा। ये मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है एंड आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू डेलर फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू स्टार्ट माई करियर इन दिस फील्ड।
That's right. You are looking so great. I can tell no audience has ever looked better in the history of audiences. It's going to be a great night. It's a party here. I have no idea why I just did that. But ladies and gentlemen, it truly is a party in here. Mr. Uday Kotak is here, ladies and gentlemen. A few weeks ago, he said the next generation is busy running family offices instead of running businesses. And guess what? We all have discussed little else since then. Nowadays, we're hearing fathers thrusting greatness upon their sons, saying the next generation is smarter than them, while the next generation is asking, okay, Papa, you worked so much, you worked your whole life, but have you ever really lived? When did you last travel? Have you ever thought of becoming a travel influencer? Did you stare at Mama's face long enough every weekend? It's true. Parents and children problem aside, this room is truly a dazzling congregation. An amazing bunch of people coming together. And just as we might have, if it's like a church congregation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you all to love thy neighbor a little bit. Here is a radical proposal. I'm going to request you all to gently turn to the person on your left, pat them on their shoulder and say hello. Thank you. The gentleman at the back, sir, shoulder, not, that's the face. Just, okay, all right. And now that we all know each other, one last request, quietly whisper into their ear the best possible excuse to get out of a meeting. Let's share secrets, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful, now that we've done that, we're all one big happy ball of energy, one big happy family, and that's excellent. Thank you all for doing that. You know, it fills my heart to see all of you here. Because from where I'm standing, I'm actually looking and staring at my entire mutual funds portfolio in front of me. So it's just wonderful having you all here. I know with the stock markets being what they have been for the last 5 months, at least some of us are crying inside. But let's talk about the real reason we're all here. We are all here because in a world of tariffs, tonight is all about tariffs. So please join me for an evening of no holds barred tariffs. And a big thank you to Deloitte, our sponsor for the evening. With that, we now come to the first conversation of the evening. And we are honored to have with us Union Minister of Railways, Electronics and IT and Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw. Thank you so much for being here, sir. And with that, I'd like to call Mr. Vaishnaw up on stage. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause, please. Mr. Vaishnaw will be in conversation with Surabhi Agarwal, Editor Technology, The Economic Times. Surabhi, we're super excited to hear your conversation. Thank you for being here, sir, and over to you both.
Thanks, Cyrus. Hello and good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Vaishnaw. Thank you so much for being with us here this evening. It's a real pleasure to host you.
Good to be the opening batsman.
All right. So let me begin by something which is sort of top of the mind right now. Climate change is a big concern, Mr. Vaishnaw. Sustainability is a big ask. For a country which is developing but has ambitions to be a developed nation by 2047, how do we walk the tightrope?
So I asked this question in Davos, a country which is today having $3,000 per capita income. What do you think is the percentage of power generation capacity which comes from the non-fossil fuels? Most people in the audience, they said about 5%, 7%. When I shared the actual number, 45%, there was like, oh, something very different is happening in this country. So our Prime Minister is so committed towards the cause of saving our planet, the cause of climate change, the cause of having sustainable growth, and it's reflected in every sector. In railways, this year we'll be having 100% electrified railway network this 2025. And not just scope 1, but we are also now targeting scope 2 net zero. Probably scope 1 will get this year itself. Scope 2, we have already tied up about 4,000 megawatts of green power, and about 7,000 is in the pipeline. So by 2030, which is our target for having complete net zero, I think we are on track.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Vaishnaw. I want to touch upon another hot button issue, which is the big T, tariffs and Trump. We all know that, India will be impacted in sort of several sectors. Government has sprung into action. I want to understand that how we sort of safeguarding our interests, especially in areas like electronics manufacturing. Will the reset be in some way beneficial for us?
I think out of this entire geopolitical shift which is happening, India will emerge very powerful, very strong, very substantially better conditions we will come out with. The reason for that is the pragmatism with which we are approaching this entire thing. We are not looking at it from a very ideological way. We are looking at it from what's good for our country. What's the right way of looking at it? Can we have a deal between India and US and see what is if you look at it, if you look at the entire, we actually did an exercise. If you look at all the HSN code lines, it's actually a very complementary trade relationship between the two countries. So I think we'll come out very strong out of it.
Since we're talking, about the US, I want to also ask you that US has imposed sort of some export controls on things like chips. There are controls on AI models, right? What does it mean for a country like India, even though right now we are not that impacted, but in the long run, as AI becomes like a geopolitical tool, are we safe? Are we prepared enough, or are we late to the party?
See, in the world of AI, there are 5 layers in this entire thing, right? The chip layer, the foundational model layer, then the application layer, the data center and hyperscaler layer, and the talent layer. I think we are working across all the 5 layers. Our foundational model should be, and we should have 3 of them by end of this year. Our work on the developing our own GPU, we should be having it in next 3 to 4 years. I think we are on track. We recently launched, just a couple of days back, we launched the 14,000 GPU common compute facility. We had targeted 10,000. And we actually got 14,000 GPUs, and that's a common compute facility which is available for all startups, for all academia, for the entrepreneurs, for researchers, for everybody. And the world today is actually noticing our approach, where we have put public funds in, of course, a PPP model, where we are putting in public funds for creating a common compute facility. Whereas in many other geographies, the entire compute power is actually hoarded by a few. So that's a very interesting model that our Prime Minister always tells us, that we must democratize technology. So it's that approach with which we are working, and I think we are in very good shape. Like in IT services, where we emerged as a major IT services power, I think in this new industrial revolution or new knowledge revolution, I think India will emerge as one of the major players, not only in providing services, but also in being the major technology creator in this age of AI, I would think so.
Right. Mr. Vaishnaw, there's often been a debate about, India's over-reliance on services and not having enough product companies. We have the best of India Inc. here, right? What will be your message to them?
Can I make a request? Nobody's saying yes. See, all of you have done fabulously well in your lives, in your businesses. Can we actually take 25, 30 products and start investing in them? I know many of you have already done very well in that field, but for example, something as basic as the capital goods which are today going into the manufacturing of some of the basic consumer goods, right? For example, in mobile phone manufacturing, I know Mr. Chandra has already done very good work getting some firms from Pune and Coimbatore to actually design and manufacture the capital goods there. Can we take that as a challenge and start developing some of those goods, and in our own fields, if let's say if it is the tech industry, can the IT industry invest in three foundational models. Can the IT industry invest in creating our own mobile phone operating system? If that is one challenge that all of us collectively take, and I tell you, if you take one step forward, the government is there to take 10 steps with you.
So it's a clarion call from the minister. Thank you so much for it, Mr. Vaishnaw. Moving to railways now. I remember when you had just taken over as the railways minister, and in one of the conversations you had said that your dream, your aspiration is to make rail travel probably equivalent to what traveling by air is, right? How far are we on that dream aspiration of yours?
See, last 11 years have been phenomenal for the Indian Railways. It has really transformed. There are so many things which have happened, which should have happened, let's say 40 years back. But still, in the last 10 years, we have electrified about 45,000 kilometers of railway network. Imagine, in the first 60 years of our independence, we did 20,000 kilometers, and in the 10 years, 11 years, we have done 45,000 kilometers, right? That's the pace at which work has happened. In the last 11 years, we have constructed 34,000 kilometers of new railway tracks. That's more than the entire network of Germany. That's the pace at which we are working. We are today manufacturing 1,500 locomotives a year. That's more than the entire locomotive production in North America and Europe put together. That's the pace at which we are working, and many new products are coming up. The Vande Bharat, I don't know how did any one of you get a chance to travel by Vande Bharat? I was expecting very good. That's quite a large number. Any experiences? Okay, that looks like a very uniform. Looks good? 10 on 10? Excellent, thank you. I mean, that's a fundamental change. Just 2 days ago, one of my cabinet colleagues told me that his friends today send the goods by car to the airport in Mumbai, and they travel by Vande Bharat. I mean, that's the kind of change which is happening. Yes, lot more work to be done, and lots of things are there in the pipeline, and it requires a huge effort because it's a humongous organization. 1,15,000 kilometers of tracks, 12 lakh employees, now 12,34,000 employees. And a long legacy of more than 100 years. So changing, communicating that change, making sure that everybody is on the same page, making sure that the politics of this industry also is properly managed, it's quite a humongous task.
Right. I think, like you said, Minister, I think there's a lot of investment which has gone into the railways. We are modernizing the stations, we are modernizing the trains, high-speed railways is being built, the fleet expansion is happening on both ends of the spectrum. But still, there are some more efforts required on the safety side. Probably that's something which is there on top of everybody's mind. How are you marrying your two hats, which is of being the tech minister and the railways minister, and using technology probably to make railways safer?
We are infusing huge amount of technology in railways, whether it is in the track inspection machines, whether it is in the case of having Kavach, making sure that the entire timetable, which must give enough time for maintenance period, optimizing that, multiple ways of infusing technology, and the results are there. Today we are investing close to 1,14,000 crore in the safety related activities, and the results are there. Just 10 years ago, it used to be about 171 accidents a year. Now that number has come down to 30. And that's not something that we should be satisfied at. We are still putting huge effort, and the results are visible. People are coming back with feedback that, okay, and a lot of startups are joining us for this race. Very soon we'll have some major new technological breakthroughs also, and that will again make a big change in our railways. And Kavach, which was again a major, it's automatic train protection technology, which most of the major railways in the world, they installed in 1990s. It was a Prime Minister Modi who actually had to come and start this work in our country. And today we have the version 4.0 of Kavach is now approved, certified, and now the rapid rollout is happening. So a lot more things are happening on this field. Yeah.
Right. As we move on, Minister, I want to come back to the entire global change in dynamics which is happening right now. Thomas Friedman some time back wrote that the world is flat. Probably it's no more flat with the start of the trade wars, deregulation, deglobalization. How can India take this opportunity head on? Do you see it as a threat? Do you see it as an opportunity? As a leader of the global south, what does it mean for us?
I think our pragmatism is going to hold us good. A pragmatic approach will really mean that we can achieve what we need to achieve. We can look at things in a very objective way rather than being theoretical about things. Let's be practical and come out of it stronger is what I would say.
Right. There's another very important topic that I want to sort of bring up here, which is of talent. I think we've had free flow of talent. We've had Indians at big positions in global companies, but there is a debate going on there. I remember sometime back in a conversation you had said that when you were in the 90s at the IIT, the only option that you had was either to go to the US or qualify for the IIS. Things have changed, but probably not to that large scale. What is it that India Inc. can do? What is it that the government can do to make sure that all of this talent potential that we have in large corporations everywhere, which is fueling innovation globally, can come back to India or stay in India and innovate here?
We have many such examples. Dr. Randir Thakur is one good example in the field of semiconductors. He has come back from US and now leading our entire fab initiative. And many more people, I mean, when I talk to the professionals or entrepreneurs and startup teams out there in US, a large number of them are actually coming back. They want to contribute. The opportunities are there today. 10 years ago, if you said that, okay, there is a startup, oh, come on. It was like very different conversation. Today, our Prime Minister's policies have led to India becoming among the top 3 startup nations. I think that was unthinkable 10 years ago. So that thing has really, really changed. At IIT Kanpur, I remember when we were working on, when you say this chat GPT, right? GPT, T is transformer. So I built the transformer from text to voice, text to sound. That was kind of, we were working.
This was in the 90s.
At IIT, that was 92, 91. So that time it was transformational, cutting edge, and but the opportunities, as you said, were very few. Today, opportunities are there. People are taking those risks. Youngsters are having that energy. And I'm so positive, so optimistic about it.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Vaishnaw. I want to bring up another very, very important debate, which is right now on top of everybody's mind in India Inc. What should be the ideal work week? I know that you work probably 120 hours in a week, probably more. You're here on a Saturday evening, full day work probably for tomorrow as well. But what are your thoughts? For a country which wants to be a developed nation by 2047, what should be an ideal work week? How should we go about this?
I don't want to get into that controversy. My good friend SNS is already facing a lot of flack for that. Well, I just want to say that it's your own choice, your company's choice. You decide your own path. As for my thought process, I think there is no substitute for hard work. And our Prime Minister is a big example for it. Morning, 4 o'clock, he arrives from Japan, and 10 o'clock he is there in the cabinet meeting. So it's an example that he has set. And each one of us have our own challenges and good things. What I would like to say that in these circumstances, our families also have to be on board with what we are doing. And I would like to thank my family for all the support they have given in this entire journey.
Thank you so much for that answer with Mr. Vaishnaw. With that, we come to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much for being here once again. What a great conversation.
Thank you
Let's have a round of applause for the Minister. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that fascinating and candid conversation, Mr. Vaishnaw, and thank you so much, Surbhi. And now, ladies and gentlemen, comes the time to invite our chief guest for the evening. Her calm and expert shepherding of the Indian economy through COVID crisis and beyond has been noted around the world. and her ideas and counsel are sought after in times like these of turmoil and uncertainty. We are delighted to be able to hear tonight from India's Finance Minister, whose reformist zeal, support to infrastructure and unwavering commitment to fiscal consolidation will hold the economy in good stead for years to come. And with that, I'd like to invite to this stage the Honourable Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. Ms. Sitharaman will be in conversation with Shrutijit KK, Executive Editor of The Economic Times. Without further ado, over to you.
What a spectacular audience and what an amazing setting to be marking the 25th edition of ET Awards. Thank you all for being with us here today. And most of all, thank you, ma'am, for joining us this evening. Your budget this year, ma'am, created a lot of positivity, as Cyrus also said, with the tax cuts, with the continued support for CapEx, and staying the course with the fiscal consolidation. But as we meet now, we are focused on a lot of geo-economic uncertainty. There is a raging tariff war, which no one is able to predict what course it's going to take. What is going to be India's game plan? How should we negotiate this, and how are we going to negotiate with the US?
I didn't think you'll ask me the first one to be about the negotiations which are going on. And in all fairness, I think I would leave it for Piyush to determine how he's going to take the whole negotiation. He and his team are at it, even as we speak. Well, in a broad sense, I think both sides should have ambition for a good treaty. And nobody can fault that. Particularly for India, when you're looking at Viksit Bharat, you need to have a good traction. Everybody is concerned about the growth numbers. You want it to be not in single digit, you want the growth to be in double digit and all that. You still need to do a lot more to strengthen our exports. And in order to strengthen our exports, not in this sector, not in that sector, across the board, wherever export potential lies, we need to strengthen that. So I'm sure the Commerce Minister is quite seized of this, and he would take this agreement to meet the ambitions that we have in terms of promoting growth, in terms of ensuring that our supply chains are intact and smooth and flowing well, and therefore that would guide his negotiations, I would think.
But so geo-economic fragmentation is now a reality. In some ways, it's a reversal of the forces of globalization that have created a lot of prosperity in this century. Do you think this will impede India's growth momentum?
I see for every challenge that exists in these kind of fragmentation or tariff war or some economies reaching a deflationary level, lack of demand overseas, I see in each one of them an opportunity. And I would thank that kind of a tendency growing in us who are all in the cabinet. I'm sure Ashwini ji will vouch for what I'm saying. That kind of a tendency being built into us or being allowed to grow within us is something which we draw from the PM. He says wherever there is a challenge, you forget there is an opportunity, not just one, maybe a couple of opportunities in them. So I would think whether it is geo-fragmentation or supply chain disruption or tariff wars or strategic disruption to free flow of trade or multilateralism now taking a different kind of a multipolar angularities. In each one of them there is such opportunity for us, and it is for us to very smartly move to make sure that this is the opportunity that India was waiting for, and we should use it so that, after all, it is another 22 years before we should reach the goal of a Viksit Bharat. So I'm sure every Indian is expecting all of us to move in that kind of a speed.
Sorry to stick to trade on one more question. Now, while this sort of while other countries also face offensive tariff action from the US, there is a very real chance that some of them could try and dump their goods in India. Is that an eventuality we are seriously watching against?
Well, yes, you're already seeing signs of that. Dumping of excess inventory which is sitting with any country, you know largely who we are talking about. When such chances exist, we will have to guard ourselves against it. But how smartly we do that? Sorry, I'm sure some people are keeping account on how many times I'm using smartly. But that's it. We need to be smart about these sort of things. So how carefully we can find our way to avoid the dumping, however much there is a layer of Indian manufacturers, small, medium-sized, who prefer cheaper inputs. But even then, the larger consideration should be to be able to give them the access to cheaper inputs, but not become a victim of dumping. These are the balancing kind of acts that we have to do, and that I'm sure many of you all will agree, but I would still say it here, we do it in consultation with the stakeholders. It's not as if we sit in Delhi, we plan for it, and then we do it irrespective of what the stakeholder wants. And in the stakeholder, they are not one block. Within them, there are sections which prefer complete stoppage of dumped goods, and some sections which prefer a calibrated approach on it. So government's task it is to make sure that we plan for it and balance everybody's interests.
You've spearheaded major reforms in taxation, now in personal tax, but previously also in corporate tax. Is it time now to look at a more comprehensive or rationalization of GST slabs? The IMF has also advocated it.
Well, I think we've started this exercise. In fact, at the time when we started it, I would say it was late 22 when we started this exercise of rationalizing the GST, for the rates, for the number of slabs, and on the other side for compliance and the process itself. So the twin-pronged approach to simplify GST was started late 22, early 23. Some people were saying you're not even allowing to settle for the GST to settle. After all, it was launched in 2017. You're already starting to revamp it. You're not allowing it to reach its normal course to see what is an average earning that you can get out of it per month. And so there was an element of discouragement, but we didn't stop it. There were different groups of ministers who were looking at it. And every time there is a state government election and there is a change of ministers, we revamp the committees. But that work has almost reached a finale. Now, at this stage, there is one more look that I've taken it upon myself. The groups have done excellent work, but I still have taken it upon myself to once more completely review each of the groups' works and then probably take it to the council to see if we can come to a final conclusion on, yes, we agree on these, yes, we have changed these, but some more work is required in some other, so we'll take it to the next council and so on. So we are very close to coming to a final call on some of the very critical issues: reduction, rationalization of rates, looking at the number of slabs and so on.
Is there any possibility you can give us a glimpse into what is in store? Any more than you have said?
I think I was very clear. Reduction in rate. And that is not as though we are now exploitatively high in rates. I've said this number number of times. At the time when the GST was launched, the revenue neutral rate was somewhere 15.8%. Meaning, in simpler terms, any one particular item of GST tax or any item on which GST is levied, if you would levy it at 15% rate, you would still not have increased the rate for the consumer, nor have you lost the revenue which has to come from it. You would get as much revenue, the burden will not be on the consumer. That was 15.8 on an average across the board. since after the launch of GST until 23, we had already brought that 15.8 to 11.4, which means rates have come down. And 15.8, when it was launched, that average was itself lesser than what it was pre-GST. So let me dispel any doubting Thomases here that the GST has made life costlier after it was introduced. Item by item, I would challenge anyone to tell me if there is any one item for which the GST rate has gone up after the introduction of GST. And therefore, naturally, by inference, if 15.8 has become 11.4, it's only come down even further. So the clue that you want is it will come down even further down.
Fabulous. I think we can all, yes, applaud to this particular rationalization. Ma'am, let's come to the topic of private investment, which we have discussed at the ET Award stage last year as well. Analysts say private investment is happening, but it is somewhat narrowly focused on a few sectors. What would be your expectations for a more broad-based resurgence in private investment?
I said this somewhere else. This question being asked to the government is actually being asked to the wrong entity. If industry wants to invest, or industry is investing, or industry, as you say, is investing only in some sectors and not in others, or it has to broad base, these are all commercial decisions. It is for industry to speak about it. And I'm not asking them to give it on your behalf, because I have not asked anything since you're asking this question. I'm not asking them to say why they are or why they are not. But I'd certainly like them to talk about things about investment. After all, if they don't speak out, how is the government to have any clue on how things are moving? And if we don't hear it from the horse's mouth, who else would we rely? Somewhat I will hesitate to rely on media on this. Shrutijit has not caught me.
I'll take half a moment to recover from that. Ma'am, the Prime Minister has spoken about a deregulation commission. You have spoken about it in the budget as well. What is the kind of body we are envisaging? Is it going to be a permanent body? Is it, what is its role going to be?
At the moment, I have not thought about having a permanent body. The initial exercise is to see, for financial sector, you have the FSTC, but for the non-financial regulator, and there are several of them. And between the regulators, many things fall between the stool, and many of the end users or the people who are being regulated do have a difficulty as to who should they approach. This one or that one, and in between they are just left unguided. And this is one of the very benign issues on which inter-regulatory bodies coordination is necessary. If you're not talking about the benign, and if you're really looking at very many malicious complaints that you get of malicious acts, between regulators, greater coordination can effectively bring down the stress levels and also bring down the number of authorities to which stakeholders will have to approach. So to simplify and to avoid overlaps, you need to have interdepartmental or interregulatory understanding and drawing of very thin lines. Otherwise, it becomes huge iron curtains which people can't pierce through.
Ma'am, I'll now come to the question that perhaps you might have expected me to ask in the beginning. The stock markets are seeing dizzying volatility. What is your prognosis for the reasons, and how do you see a path towards more calm markets playing out?
It's like asking, will the world be calm? Will the wars come to an end? Will the Red Sea be safer? Will there be no sea pirates? Can I comment on it? Or any one of you all would like to comment?
But But surely, there is a lot of commentary. Surely you read in our newspaper as well as others, a lot of questions. Okay, let me come to a specific point in that case. The sell-off by the FIIs, now we've seen some substantial sell-off by the FIIs perhaps for the last 6 months or so. This has led to now a resurgence in the clamor for a reduction in the long-term capital, in capital gains taxes applicable to them. Do you see any merit in this argument?
As I said, there are some taxation matters on which, particularly the Parliament session being on course, budget session that is, there's only an intermission. The session is not sine die shut, and we are resuming on Monday, the most inappropriate time for a finance minister to talk on tax.
All my desperate attempts at headline hunting are going nowhere, as you can see. Right. I won't even try to drag you anymore into this markets question. It's quite clear that you don't wish to deliberate on it. Ma'am, on the matter of public sector banks, many of them do now need capital to support the growing demand for credit. Is the government open to reducing its stake in PSBs below 51%? Will we see some moves now?
Not specific to today's context. That we'll have to reduce and allow retail shareholders participate in public sector banks is a principle agreed to by this government. We will be increasing the public float. We want to have more and more common public, retail investors in banks to be actively buying and selling shares and get into the secondary market and be also, if anything, representing themselves to the boards. That doesn't seem to be welcome,
Ma'am, there has been some concerns expressed that, while chasing returns, shadow banks or NBFCs, their lending towards microcredit hasn't gone too well. What is your view on this, or are these concerns that you share?
There were some concerns at least a year ago, but I think the RBI came in time, gave quite a good guidance. Sometimes people thought that was very tight. I think now again RBI is given some relaxation, and therefore the understanding of the RBI, of the government and largely of the public is when NBFCs went too far too soon, too probably easily, it did cause concern. Not about every NBFC, but those who are small, who are very adventurous, and therefore the RBI had come in. Now I think there is good correction happening on that, so I'm sure it will settle down.
India is negotiating FTAs with a number of countries, including the EU bloc. What ought to be our guiding principles? What are the compromises we can make, and what are the ones that we can't?
Well, the first principle in that is put India's interest first, and in this I won't shy away from saying some of the bilateral agreements done earlier, even with groups of countries, not just one-on-one bilateral, but India with a group, either the negotiations were very speedily handled. I do not want to attribute any intentional malice or anything. Either the negotiations were very speedily handled, or the language of the document was very loose, or they were hasty understanding of the collateral which we'll face. That today the Commerce Ministry is engaged in review of many of the FTAs already signed, whether it is with Japan, whether it is with Korea, whether it's with ASEAN. There cannot be a second thought in India. No stakeholder will have a different opinion that in some of these agreements, India is facing a challenge. There are goods where you think you're very well concerned about, but because of the FTA, there is just a flood of goods coming in which you're not able to regulate. Duties don't make a difference to them because the FTA allows it. And therefore, the experiences and lessons learned from that kind of agreement signing, today our understanding is a good negotiation, putting India's interest should be absolutely your top priority. And unless you do negotiate for India's own good, even your negotiation will not be taken seriously by the opposite side because they are very clear on what they want. But can you not be as clear? And therefore, I would think the approach now is to be a lot more hands-on in your negotiation. Take the stakeholders absolutely at every process with their inputs, not just consult them once and leave them, but as you progress, get guided by their inputs. And above all, on the larger principle, it is going to be a lot of bilaterals. It is not just India. Globally now, because of the tariff uncertainties, because of the ineffectual way in which WTO operates, you are going to depend on bilateral agreements rather than look at multilateral or even look at bilateral, but when things go wrong, you still have a WTO to fall back on? No, you probably don't have an effective WTO. I'm not saying it's not there. It is there. But if your complaints going there, you're not going to get any redressal in a near future. So what is the good of it? And therefore, bilateral, your interests first, and ensure the language of the agreement is such that you don't get into legal tussles too often.
There are a number of multilateral initiatives, such as on climate and BEPS, that India has been a very robust contributor to, from where the US has now withdrawn, and therefore, will India continue to engage despite who else leaves in these multilateral
The two-pillar solution, BEPS.
Yes.
I'm not sure if there is any alternative to what existed before for the BEPS negotiations or for the two-pillar solution. With US not participating, and it was US together with OECD and G7, which were taking it up very seriously to talk about the two-pillar solutions. And that was essentially the way in which one concern under the BEPS, base erosion, profit shifting, could be addressed. But if two pillars fallen, other concerns of BEPS remain, and there is no one particular group whose priority will be BEPS now when they are looking at what's going to happen to, let us say, the Western Europe's security considerations, or the Indo-Pacific, or the IPEF, or the Quad, or the NATO. There are very many such issues on which the world will be now discussing on priority. There will be a time when they'll come back to it, but at the moment it's not BEPS and two-pillar.
And we are projected to grow at about between 6.5 and 6.7% next year. I think everyone likes a faster, GDP growth. What would you say are maybe the 2 or 3 things that need to fall in place for, for us to achieve maybe 1 or 2 percentage points more in the growth rate?
See, this is an audience which knows about what are the things which are going to contribute to our growth. So there's no point in me first going in detail about it. But there's one thing on which definitely I'd like to take this opportunity, tell the media, make all of us think about is, like the markets, there is a sentiment which prevails in a country to grow. You need to have that positivity, you need to have that self-belief. And if this is said, the unsaid is, you need to be the last person to run down your own country. You need to believe in India's capacities. It is that sentiment which is missing, if anything, today, so that all of us can trust each other and say, yes, we can do it and move forward. Now, for every one good big thing which happens, there are 100 people who say, oh, it's nothing at all. Oh, come on, we did it during so-and-so's era as Prime Minister. So what you're doing now is no good. No, please. Earlier Prime Ministers would have achieved 100 things. In today's context, if you're achieving something, would you want to go along with it? Or stand against the tide and say, I believe what happened earlier, but I don't believe anything that you do today. Are you living in today, or are you living in 60s and 70s India? We saw what happened in those ages. I'm not denying any achievements of any prime ministers of the day. But today, with the given challenges, and with the kind of sustained growth that we are showing, and not just Indians saying it, you may question MOSPI's data, you may question anything. But every agency outside says India is the fastest growing country. All right, not 12%, at least 6.5, at least 7. And when I say at least, it's not to say I want some concessions in understanding. 6.5 or 7 sustained for the last post-COVID era. Are we serious? And there is not one sector which is also, not growing or which is lagging behind. Periodically, you can always come up, automobile sectors in difficulty. They're sitting with inventory. Some other sector. I met with an eminent representative of the automobile sector. Very clearly, we should understand what kind of changes have happened in India over the last, let us say, 7-8 years. We rapidly want to match up with the global standards in emission. Europe, after having achieved a certain level of per capita income, says my level of emission will be this. Very well for them. But we brought in that level of emission standards even when we are still at 2,000 per capita income. Which means on the one hand we want to move fast, on the other, the more the standard rigor, the more the rigorous standard that you're bringing in, the cost of the vehicle goes up. Many people who are aspiring to own their first vehicle can't buy it because of the emission requirements making the cost of vehicle going up. I'm not saying emission standards should not be followed, but let us understand that jacks up the cost. Now, if car sales are therefore hit, look at India, you can never achieve what China has achieved. Please. For every one global disturbance which we meet and try to rise above, the disturbance is forgotten. But the rigor with which you're going forward is the question. Oh no, but post-COVID, K-shaped recovery, B-shaped recovery, C-shaped. Bring all the alphabets you want, but we're moving forward, aren't we? So my expectation, other than everything else, banks will have to be robust, credit will have to be available, fuel cost will have to be low, more funds will have to be available for small and medium industries. The rigor with which you want to have ease of doing business should also trickle down to states. Your municipalities and local bodies will have to do well. All that said, sentiment, please. If sentiments can govern our markets and therefore all of us feel buoyed at one point and completely watered down on the other, so is the economy. In spite of the achievements, if we go on naysaying, our youth are not going to hold us easily accountable. They will put us through the grind, saying, what are you all doing? Startups have proven to us in the last 5 years, against all odds, how they can progress and how they made India the third largest ecosystem. Ashwini spoke about it. If they are able to do that, shouldn't all of us try and do this and make India do faster, grow faster? I would strongly pitch for an optimistic tenor, and not when we are not really growing at all. Fastest growing last 3-4 years continuously. At this time too, we don't want to be optimistic.
The message is loud and clear, and with that we come to the end of this session. A big round of applause to our always wise, always candid Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman ji. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us.
Thank you as always, Nirmala ji, for sharing your insights, your candid assessment, and your very reassuring reading of India and the world. Thank you, SK, always brilliant. Ma'am, thank you. I request you to please remain on stage. And with that, I'd like to invite Vice Chairman of the Times of India Group, Mr. Sameer Jain, to please join Nirmala ji on stage. Round of applause, please. I'd also like to request Ashwini Vaishnaw ji back on stage so we could have all three of you here on stage to present the upcoming awards. Thank you. And with that, I would now like to invite on stage CEO Deloitte South Asia, Romal Shetty, to deliver his address.
Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, Mr. Sameer Jain, esteemed guests and distinguished leaders, it's a privilege to be here tonight celebrating 25 years of the Economic Times, recognizing corporate excellence. Congratulations to all the winners. You're shaping the future of India's business landscape. We live in a world where geopolitical shocks are as routine as the morning alarms. Unwelcome, yet predictable. Disruptions are constant, but India is better positioned than most to navigate them. Macroeconomic stability, relentlessly pursued by our Honorable Finance Minister, has kept us resilient. A domestic consumption-driven economy, which makes up 62% of our GDP, shields us from external fluctuations. And our favorable geopolitical alignment opens doors where others see barriers. Beyond these strengths, India's greatest asset is its people. With a median age of just 29, we have a demographic dividend that will last 2 more decades. We are the world's STEM capital, home to the largest IT and innovation workforce, and the preferred hub for global capability centers driving digital transformation. But if we don't move quickly, today's advantages could turn into disadvantages by the next ET Awards. Technology is advancing at an unprecedented pace. Gen AI, agentic systems, deep tech. And the choices that we make today will determine whether we lead this revolution or get left behind. Thankfully, India is not just keeping pace, we're setting the pace. Under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and the focused execution of Shri Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, India is taking some decisive steps. 5 semiconductor manufacturing units are already in progress with the first Made in India chip set to roll out by 2025. Soon, India will have its own large language model, optimized for efficiency and trained for our diverse data. We're now ranked amongst the top 5 AI and deep tech nations globally. The momentum is further reinforced by the recent budget, which is not just a financial plan, but a commitment to innovation, an investment in the heart, mind, and soul of India's future. With a strong push for R&D and emerging technologies, we're laying the foundation for game-changing breakthroughs. But the responsibility doesn't rest with the government alone. And India Inc. must lead from the front. And tonight's winners are proof that we are. Mahindra & Mahindra is redefining defense tech with AI-driven autonomous systems. TVS Motors has launched the world's first CNG scooter, transforming urban mobility. The Birla Group is leading sustainability with seawater scrubbing technology. Lenskart is merging AI and AR for personalized eyewear. Zomato is evolving beyond food into a full-scale tech platform. As we celebrate innovation, we must take a moment to honor the late Sri Ratan Tata. a visionary who shaped India's innovation agenda long before it became a corporate mantra. To all the winners, your contributions are driving India's global trajectory, but the real challenge is not in winning, but in continuously innovating, pushing boundaries, and shaping what comes next. Because India's movement is now, and the world is watching. Congratulations once again to all of you. Keep innovating, keep leading. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shetty, that wonderful and powerful address. And with that, we have now come to the all-important awards ceremony that we have all gathered here for today. This edition of the award witnessed immense contributions from a stellar jury of peers who took time and effort to deliberate and carefully choose tonight's winners. So before we begin the celebrations, a note of thanks for our incredible jury members, most of whom are with us here tonight. The jury was chaired by Mr. Mukesh Ambani of Reliance Industries, and the members were Kumaramangalam Birla of the Aditya Birla Group, Uday Kotak of Kotak Mahindra Bank, Preeta Reddy of Apollo Hospitals, Rohit Java of Hindustan Unilever Limited, Salil Parekh of Infosys, Zia Modi of AZBN Partners, Anish Shah of Mahindra Group, Nicholas Berggruggren of Berggruggren Holdings, Lakshmi Venu of TAFE, and Shri Harsha Majeti of Swiggy. Thank you all so much for bringing true heft and value to the ET Awards, and most of all, thank you for your time. Could we have a huge round of applause for them? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, now we proceed to the climax of today's theatre of celebration, the awards. The first award of the evening is ET Emerging Company of the Year. This is where we celebrate firms showing early promise that could become blue chips of tomorrow. And the winner is...
15 years ago, Zomato began with a simple idea: to connect people with great food. Today, it is a leader in India's consumer tech revolution. In 2021, under Dipinder Goyal's leadership, Zomato became the first new age internet company to go public in India, debuting with a market capitalization of $13 billion. From food delivery to quick commerce, Zomato has evolved into a multifaceted ecosystem. The 2022 acquisition of Blinkit revolutionized 10-minute deliveries. And by 2024, Zomato achieved profitability with revenue surging 71%. Now, Zomato is expanding into live events and ticketing, acquiring Insider, Paytm's ticketing business. Its bold vision and rapid growth have rightfully earned it the Economic Times Emerging Company of the Year award.
Congratulations to Zomato. May I request Akshant Goyal, CFO Zomato, to please grace the stage and receive the award from Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw. Ashwini ji, if you could kindly do the honors. Congratulations, sir. Request you to please say a few words.
First of all, thank you to everyone, ET and the jury, for this incredible honor. I think this is a tribute to about 25 lakh people who are on the road, in warehouses, in restaurants, which make our business. And I think it would not have been possible without them. So thank you to everyone. And yeah, thank you once again.
Congratulations once again, sir. There goes the man who knows what we'll have for dinner even before we know ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, India is teeming with entrepreneurs now. It has the world's third largest startup ecosystem, and our next category salutes the spirit of entrepreneurship. The winner of ET's Entrepreneur of the Year award is...
In just over a decade, Piyush Bansal has transformed the way India sees the world, one frame at a time. From an ambitious online startup to one of Asia's largest omni-channel eyewear companies, Lenskart is a story of bold vision and relentless growth. The $400 million acquisition of Japanese brand Owndays was a game-changer, driving Lenskart's expansion into Japan and Singapore. With 2,500 plus stores and a strong digital presence, it has mastered the hybrid retail model, seamlessly bridging online and offline experiences. Under Bansal's leadership, revenue surged 45% to 5,400 crore rupees in fiscal year 2024, and the company is now eyeing a $10 billion valuation. At the heart of this expansion is cutting-edge manufacturing. The Rajasthan facility produces 25 million frames annually. And with a new $200 million mega facility in Telangana, Lenskart is building the foundation for its next phase of global dominance. ET proudly honors Piyush Bansal as the Economic Times Entrepreneur of the Year for his vision, innovation and unstoppable drive.
Congratulations, Piyush Bansal. Sir, I request you to please come up on stage and receive the ET Entrepreneur of the Year award from Mr. Vaishnaw. Congratulations, but before we request you to say a few words, we have a tiny bit of a surprise for you. I would like to call upon a very special person on stage who actually has 20/20 vision into your life. I thought about that joke for 6 months. We're going to invite on stage your very lovely wife, Mrs. Nidhi Bansal. Round of applause, please. Ma'am, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to request you to please give us a few insightful details about Mr. Bansal.
Please excuse my shivering voice. It's just a very overwhelming moment. Congratulations, Piyush, on this special achievement. I'm incredibly proud to be standing here today, celebrating your success as an entrepreneur, a role that you breathe and live. Piyush, it's your innate restlessness, your eagerness to make things happen, of course with just the right set of people by your side, that has made this feat and all others so believable and easily acceptable. Your passion, your intellect, and your unwavering commitment to excellence has inspired people around you. But beyond the accolades and recognition, what truly matters is the man you are, a supportive husband, a doting father, and the most amazing team leader. It fills my heart with renewed respect every time I see how much you respect your team members. Having heard repeated notes of admiration for you from them, I know you completely reciprocate those feelings. And this reflects loudly in the fact that you've invited our star optometrist Sunita Parshuram and Drishti Didi Vibha Shukla here, all the way from Goa and Kanpur. You genuinely believe that it's their award and not your alone. I feel honored to have also experienced the transformation in you as a father, how swiftly you shifted gears from a high-speed entrepreneur making India wear your glasses to a cruise control family man ensuring our son never felt you're absent. Attending every parental session at school, you've made many moms look with agony at their missing husbands. You've shown me what it means to dream big and chase after your aspirations with all your heart. Till date, I fondly remember the day. It was just a few months that Lenskart was started, and you came home that evening with your eyes shining, and you exclaimed with a smile, We booked 60 orders of eyeglasses today. That was a big number that day, and rest is history. At this moment, Ivan and I thank you for who you are, an emotional family man who is inspiring and changing the world for good and only good. Congratulations on this well-deserved achievement.
How beautiful, Nidhi. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And now the man of the moment, sir. I'm going to request you to please say a few words.
Thank you, Nidhi. Ma'am, please. Sir, please sit. I'm sure it's too long. Thank you. Thank you, jury members. Thank you, everyone, for this award. I'm seriously feeling huge amounts of gratitude and humility right now on behalf of the Lenskart team, our customers, our shareholders who are here, and everybody who's kind of stood up to challenge the status quo in many ways, right? I recently, just last week, this is a year of awards for Lenskart somehow, you know, not by choice, by destiny in many ways, but I recently met the CEO of a foundation, Akshay Patra, at another event, and he mentioned to me something. They give midday meals to children, and they were sharing that how a child is able to learn a lot more if their stomachs are full. And that got me thinking that a child is probably not able to learn at all if their vision is even half full, right? And I'm thankful to the mighty that what started as an initiative to give vision to a few has now become a movement for quite a few and many millions. I don't know how many of you can imagine your life without a pair of glasses, but just for a few seconds, if you would take off yours, you would imagine, and then you can take them on when you're resistance. When, you know, but I would really urge you to experience it for a few minutes as I speak. I'm anyways not that smart for you to watch me. You are hearing me is better. But if you take off your glasses right now as I speak, we have about 400 million people in India today who are without a pair of glasses and need them. Right, 400, that's more than the population of US. And these people, you know, imagine them studying, imagine them working, and imagine them watching an event like this. And that's what Lenskart was about, right? I think we have had our ups and downs, but the thing that has kept us going for so many years is our mission and our purpose. When I see and when we see a 7-year-old child with a -7 power struggling in studies, and when they get a pair of glasses and they tell their mom, "Ma, main dekh sakta hu," that's why we come to work. And that's why we do what we do. And it's not even the beginning in many ways, because the number is very large. But we have done it before. There was a very similar problem India had, where we eradicated it fully. I don't know if you know it, but that was polio. And there's a lot written about it, and I've read about it, what really went through in finishing. And that's what our effort is, and our belief is that someday from a blind capital of the world, we can become the vision capital of the world. I'm not a big believer in awards, to be honest. I overall have a strong sense of belief that all glory is fleeting in many ways. This one was not a nominated award, but then suddenly so many emails came that I kind of felt that it is important, and with the jury here and the people here, it feels quite important. But it is still important for the people who actually are serving today to give vision. And this is important for them. So I have two, firstly, happy Women's Day to all the powerful women here. Just like any other medical field, or semi-medical field, this vision is also given by a lot of powerful women. I have two women, very special women here. If you can just stand up there, and I know you're pressed for time. Sunita and Vabita, they have come, So Sunita is an optometrist. She has done thousands of eye exams, and now is a store manager in Goa. She's here representing almost 15,000 opticians who are doing over 10 million eye tests every year. And more importantly, Vibhita, right? Vibha, sorry about that. Vibha, she's our Drishti Didi, and she does work which is even more powerful. This award for you, Vibha particularly. So Vibha is amongst the 675 Drishti Didis we have now. They have already made 110 villages refraction error free. 110 villages refraction error free, right? And they are working on the next 500. So this award is for you. Thank you, ET, for recognizing them. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, sir. Once again, we have our eyes on you. Before you step down, we're going to request you just for a quick photo op because we missed it in the beginning out of excitement. We're just going to request a quick photo op with our wonderful presenters. Thank you. Yeah, just take a photo. I think it's all a ploy to keep me out of this frame. Thank you. With that, thank you, presenters. Congratulations to the both of you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we move to our next award category, which is for ET Businesswoman of the Year. And the winner is...
Vishakha Mulye is transforming Aditya Birla Capital into a formidable powerhouse. Under her leadership, the company shifted its focus from large wholesale clients to high-yielding retail clients, driving its AUM to more than 5 lakh crore rupees. She also doubled the consolidated lending book to 1.46 lakh crore rupees, fueling growth, profitability, and long-term resilience. With strategic foresight, she successfully raised 4,500 crore rupees of growth capital over the past 2 years. Through bold capital raising and strategic consolidation, she fortified the company, doubling its stock value under her leadership. A transformation that secures her the Economic Times prestigious Businesswoman of the Year award.
Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause to Aditya Birla Capital CEO Vishakha Mulye. I request ma'am to please grace the stage and receive the ET Businesswoman of the Year award from Ashwini ji. Ma'am, before we ask you to say a few words, I would like to have your friend on stage, an old colleague from your ICICI days, MD and CEO IDFC First Bank, V. Vaidyanathan, to please grace the stage and give us some gossip.
Okay, good evening, everybody. First of all, it's a great pleasure for me and privilege for me to speak something about Vishakha on this occasion. I've known Vishakha since 2000 when I joined ICICI Bank, and therefore I'm well placed to speak about her. We've been through the rough and tumble of ICICI during those years. So I must say that Vishakha is a really very special person. She's just done so many roles. She was heading corporate banking at some point of time. She was a director in ICICI Lombard. She was a CFO at some stage, then ICICI Ventures. And whatever she did, she was successful. So sometimes you have to scratch your head and say, how can one person do so many roles and be really wonderfully successful in all of them? I must say that, she's always smiling. It's not that the corporate world doesn't have its own fights, fist cuffs, dishum. Everything happens in the corporate world because, you're jostling for success and of your institution. But Vishakha was always smiling. And she's loved by everybody. Mr. Kamath used to like her, Kalpana used to like her, we used to like her, I can see Sanjay Chatterjee somewhere there, I can see Zareen there. Everybody used to love Vishakha. So Vishakha, your real special skill is being a fantastic people person. She's extraordinarily straightforward all the time. And I think these are some very special qualities about Vishakha. So I'm telling you that it's a great award to win. But the jury has done an absolutely fabulous job in nominating her or giving her the award. You're really very special, Vishakha. You really win this. I'll tell you one I'll tell you a small story, okay, Vishaka, now you'll beat me up for this. One day, during the early days of ICICI, as you know, the first 10 years of ICICI, 2000, 2010, early stage, startup bank, always, rough and tumble, fights, this, that, etc. You have to really struggle in the early stages of any bank. And Mr. Kamath was there in the boardroom one of those days, and some of us were there. And it was a difficult subject people are debating. I already knew Vishaka's view on that subject even before she walked in. And Mr. Kamath was there. And then someone asked her, she said, absolutely. Mr. Kamath asked her what she said, absolutely agree with you. That's how she started. So we're looking at her, this is what Vishaka is saying. But she started like that, but in the end, she got her way. So the trick about Vishaka, she will always start with a yes, always make you happy, always smiling. Finally, she will get her way. Mr. Birla, you're watching this, Kumar Bang Birla, I'm just telling you, she will always say yes to you, but she will always have her way. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Vishaka, you're really wonderful. All of us who have known you for the last 20 years know this really well deserved, and heartiest congratulations to every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope all my friends turn out like you. And with that, the lady of the moment, ma'am, I'm going to request you to please say a few words.
So, thank you very much, E.T., the jury, for this award. I'm really, truly honored and humbled for this recognition. Thank you, Mr. Birla, for giving me the opportunity to be part of ABC and your continued guidance and support in the last 2.5 years. I really received this award on behalf of all my colleagues in ABC, because of whom I'm today here accepting this award. So thank you, all of you, and all your families. At ABC, our objective is to simplify finance as simple as ABCD. And that is also the name of the newly launched platform this year for our D2C platform. This platform allows our customer to meet all their financial needs as well as choose the channel of their choice in interaction with us. At ABC, we are very excited, ma'am, with all the opportunities that we are seeing today in the Indian market, and we believe that we have all the building blocks in place to leverage these opportunities. The events such as today are very important milestones to actually step back and reflect on your journey, and also thank all those who have contributed to your success. There is a famous saying to say that behind every successful man, there is a woman. But for women to be successful, I think there are lots of things that have to fall in place. Right from the family that she is born in, the families that she marries, the institutions that she works with, and the ecosystem in which she operates. I was extremely fortunate that all this fell in well for me beautifully. Having born in a Maharashtrian family, my parents, I would like to thank them for giving me deep values and also the confidence to pursue my dreams, and my in-laws who were the greatest supporters of me. Thank you, Vivek, for your unconditional love and support, without which I think this was not possible. My beautiful 2 kids, Vignesh and Riddhi, for being the pillar of for being the pillar of strength for me, and also my siblings, Shalaka and Gauresh, who are the anchor of my life today after my parents. I was also very fortunate to be part of the great institutions like ICICI and now Aditya Birla. ICICI is nurtured by some great visionary leaders. I would like to really thank all my mentors and my colleagues. Thank you, Vedhi, since you and Sanjay are here, but all the colleagues who are today actually more than friends and just colleagues, family to me. I would really like to also thank Mr. Kamath, who really believed in me and gave me some great opportunities, and also his guidance and support throughout my career and even today. I was also very fortunate that I was surrounded by some super talented women leaders in ICICI. There were times that when I was low because of few incidences in life or not being able to actually balance the work and the personal life, one of them came forward, tapped on my shoulder and told me that this is normal, this happens with everybody and it will pass, and there are ways in actually managing the situation. I'm really grateful to all of them. 2.5 years back, I took the decision to move from ICICI to Aditya Birla Group. I must admit that it was a very difficult decision and very emotional decision. I was very, very nervous to say that whether I would actually be able to adapt myself to the new organization. To the credit of all my colleagues in Aditya Birla Group, I think that transition was very, very smooth. In spite of the group being very diverse, from metal to cement, from fashion to financial institution, with presence in 40 countries, with more than 2 lakh employees and 100 nationalities, what binds and keeps all of us together is the unique culture of one ABG. The culture of empowerment, the culture of transparency, the culture of mutual respect. My compliments to you, Mr. Birla, for really creating a world-class organization that what is Aditya Birla today. I'm also very fortunate to be part of the growth story of India in the last 3 decades. Just to put few numbers in perspective, when I started in 1993, the per capita of India was just $300. Today it is $3,000. If you look at Sensex, it was just 2,200 odd at that time. Today it is 80,000 as we speak today. And also the country, as ma'am said, post-COVID grew at 6.5%, but if you look at actually the CAGR for last 30 years, it has actually grown from 6.5% plus. I'm a true believer in Prime Minister Modi's vision or 2047 of Vikasit Bharat, and I'm extremely excited to be part of this growth journey again. Thank you again for this honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Congratulations once again. Thank you once again, Mr. Vaidyanathan, for those wonderful stories. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we move to our next award. Now, the essence of this year's ET Awards reflects in our show, in the decor, and indeed in the dress code. It is environment and sustainability. And it ties in perfectly with our next category, which is Conscious Corporate of the Year. And the winner is...
At Grasim Industries, success is measured not just in profits, but in its unwavering commitment to sustainability, responsibility, and impact. Grasim is setting new benchmarks for the future of sustainable business. In fiscal year 2024, it achieved remarkable milestones. 50% of its total water usage came from recycled sources. 94% of waste was repurposed, and hazardous waste recovery soared to 74%. The company continues to champion renewable energy and circular solutions, reinforcing its vision for a low-carbon future. But Grasim's impact extends far beyond its operations. Under the leadership of Rajeshri Birla, the Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives has uplifted over 1.2 million lives, funding education, healthcare, and rural transformation. For redefining corporate responsibility and setting new standards in sustainable business, Grasim Industries is honored as the Economic Times Conscious Corporate of the Year.
Congratulations to everyone at Grasim. I would like to request the MD of Grasim Industries, Mr. H.K. Agarwal, to kindly grace the stage to receive the award from Nirmala ji. The Conscious Corporate of the Year. Sir, congratulations. Request you to please say a few words.
Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable Minister for Railways, Information and Broadcasting and IT Shri Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, and esteemed members of the jury. It is my honor and privilege to accept the ET Conscious Corporate of the Year Award on behalf of Grasim Industries, and that too in the 25th year of these awards. Grasim's story is deeply intertwined with India's path to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Incorporated exactly 10 days after India's independence, Grasim has grown from being a textile manufacturer into a global leader across fiber, chemicals, and cement. Right since its inception, Grasim has championed the Make in India endeavor to achieve self-sufficiency in key industries by bolstering domestic manufacturing capabilities through continuous innovation and reinvention. Grasim's journey over the last 8 decades has been characterized by growth, resilience, and unshakable commitment to excellence. This award is a tribute to the vision and inspiring leadership of our chairman, Shri Kumar Mangalam Birla, whose guidance has been the cornerstone of our success. Under his leadership, we have built a strong global scale while being rooted in our core values, an Atmanirbhar Grasim born in India and thriving on the world stage. Thank you, Mr. Birla. We deeply value the ET Conscious Corporate Award as it recognizes our unwavering commitment to sustainability, which is at the core of our strategy across all our businesses. This commitment is embedded in a well-defined ESG framework which guides our efforts to create lasting value for all stakeholders. Our culture fosters responsible decision-making, emphasizing efficient use of resources, ethical governance, and sustainable profitability while prioritizing environment and promoting a circular economy. Grasim remains dedicated to environmental stewardship by proactively addressing climate-related risks and opportunities. Our initiatives align with India's nationally determined contributions and net zero targets by 2070. In pursuit of this vision, we have set an ambitious target of achieving net zero emissions by 2050. Guided by this purpose, we take a long-term view, acting as responsible custodians of our planet for future generations. Grasim today, through its CSR initiatives, touches life of over 1.2 million people. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Srimati Rashriji Birla, whose leadership and dedication to CSR activities continue to inspire us. And finally, I would like to dedicate this award to every employee at Grasim. This achievement is a recognition to their relentless commitment and hard work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, and congratulations once again. Now, India's corporate landscape today is filled with companies doing extraordinarily well. Innovation, execution, and imagination are all in full bloom. So it takes a truly special performance, therefore, to make the cut as ET's Company of the Year. And the winner is...
From the heart of India to the global stage, Mahindra stands as a symbol of innovation, resilience, and purpose. With a renewed brand identity and bold strategy, it has reclaimed its dominance in a fiercely competitive market. From iconic off-roaders to sleek SUVs, Mahindra blends heritage with cutting-edge design. But its ambitions don't stop there. In the EV revolution, Mahindra is charging ahead with stunning new models, while committing 12,000 crore rupees to Mahindra Electric Automobile over the next 3 years. And the world is taking notice. Mahindra stock has surged 79% in the past year, making it India's most valuable auto company. Globally, it now ranks 11th with a market capitalization of $43 billion. For its bold leadership, pioneering vision, and relentless drive, Mahindra and Mahindra proudly takes home the Economic Times Company of the Year award.
Congratulations, Mahindra and Mahindra. With that, I'm going to request Group CEO Anish Shah to kindly come up on stage and receive the award from Ms. Sitharaman. Congratulations once again. Ladies and gentlemen, the Company of the Year, Mahindra and Mahindra. Congratulations, Mr. Shah. We also request you to please say a few words after the photo.
In 1945, our founders placed an advertisement in the Times of India. It did not talk about the products of the company. It talked about the principles under which the company was founded. It talked about dignity of labor, opposing anti-social trends, and neither caste, nor creed, nor color shall come in the way of a meritocracy. That is a purpose that we were born with. That is a purpose that we've had part of our DNA. And that is a purpose that we lead with as a company. We're often asked, aren't you supposed to deliver profits for your investors? And our response is, if we lead with purpose, profits will follow. And today, with this prestigious award, it is in many ways a vindication and an inspiration for everyone who leads with purpose. This award belongs to our team. It belongs to all our associates. And the leaders who over the years, many have retired now, who helped build this company, who've created the foundation for this company. And we stand today as custodians to accept this award. I'd personally like to thank Anand Mahindra for his support and guidance, his empowerment. He's in the US with family and therefore cannot be at the award ceremony today. Mr. Keshav Mahindra, who will always be with us. Our leaders from the past. And I'd personally like to thank my wife Snehal for helping me be the person I am today. And thank you to the jury for giving us this award.
Congratulations once again, Mr. Shah. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone on stage. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next award goes to a legend in journalism. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the ET Global Indian of the Year is...
Fareed Zakaria is a pioneering Indian-American journalist, political commentator and author, globally renowned for his sharp and insightful take on international affairs.
America does have a debt and deficit problem.
One of the most respected voices in global journalism.
Urbanization is the fundamental fact that reduces poverty.
Zakaria has played a pivotal role in shaping how the world understands politics, economics and diplomacy. From the anchor desk of CNN's Fareed Zakaria GPS, he has engaged with world leaders including Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Narendra Modi, Bill Gates and Elon Musk, translating complex global challenges into clear, accessible insights for audiences worldwide. Beyond television, his thought-provoking cover stories, incisive columns and best-selling books have guided global opinion for over 3 decades. ET honors Fareed Zakaria with the Global Indian of the Year Award for his unparalleled insights into geopolitics and global affairs, making him one of journalism's most influential voices.
So Fareed couldn't be with us here tonight, and with what's going on in America, the world needs him to stay put and kind of interpret it for us. Now, if you haven't watched his comments on Saturday Night Live on how Zelensky should have dealt with Trump, I recommend it highly. It's amazing. But we do have someone with us tonight who knows him better than those guys at CNN. I would like to request his niece, Malika Noor Mehta, to receive the ET Global Indian Award on behalf of Fareed Zakaria from the Honorable Finance Minister. Malika, we're going to request you to please say a few words about your favorite Uncle Fareed.
Forgive my shivering voice. So, Fareed Zakaria, or as I know him, Fareed Mamu, is indeed a prolific writer and journalist, and an astute political analyst. But outside of his many professional accomplishments, what I admire most about my uncle is his kindness. When I left India to study in the United States at the age of 14, I was nervous. I recall wondering what it would be like to be in another country so far away from my parents. I was very lucky to soon discover a surrogate father in my Uncle Fareed. He would open up his home to me during every school vacation. I would travel with him and his family to upstate New York, or to the occasional ski trip which is etched in my memory. He attended all my graduations, all my birthdays, all the anniversaries. He showed up. And that is really what you need from family, especially as a child who is anxious about being in a new country. I feel very lucky to have been able to be the occasional fly on the wall in Fareed Mamu's life, because I think, perhaps just through the process of osmosis, I learned so much about politics, policy, humanitarian issues, business, and much more, just by being in his presence. I learned so much about how to analyze, how to think, how to dissect, how to question, just by watching him do so. While my entire family on both sides is made up of people who think deeply about our world, about the issues that plague it, and about how to find solutions to seemingly intractable problems, I do believe Fareed Mamu is one individual in our family who has mastered the ability of presenting a very complex idea in the simplest of ways, and as such, opening up the conversations to people who may have previously felt excluded. As a 14-year-old girl, and then later as a 25-year-old graduate student in public policy, I know I felt so grateful for my uncle's ability to include me in those conversations and teach me in those ways. Fareed Mamu, thank you for all that you have done for our world, and thank you for all that you have done for our family. I feel deeply proud to be able to call you my uncle, and I am forever grateful for all the times you have housed me, fed me, and helped me rebook flights to India when I ended up going to the wrong airport in New York. True story. I love you.
Thank you so much, Malika, for such wonderful words. Fareed has sent a video message for all of us, so we shall now GPS on Fareed Zakaria.
Hello, friends. I am deeply honored to receive the ET Global Indian Award. To be honored like this by the Economic Times with a jury that is filled with people I so greatly admire is deeply gratifying. I believe that one of my missions in life must be to help people around the world better understand India and its enormous strengths and opportunities. I'm also personally touched by this award because my mother worked for the Times of India Group for about 2 decades, first under Khushwant Singh at the Illustrated Weekly of India, and then under Girilal Jain at the Times. Many days after I finished up at school at Cathedral, I would go to the Times of India offices to wait for my mother to finish her work, and then together we would go home. To be honored by that organization is extraordinary. It brings back warm memories of my childhood in Bombay. India has an unusual opportunity to become a pivotal player on the global stage. It is a rising economic power, critical to the West for strategic reasons. It is also well regarded and connected with the global South. It has a storied reputation as a democracy, a leader of the developing world, and a staunch believer in democratic norms and values. It can leverage all these strengths into broad influence in the world, which will help India move ahead economically, position it well strategically, and help move the world toward greater stability, prosperity, and freedom. I believe that is India's destiny. Again, thank you so much for this award. I am deeply honored.
That was wonderful. Malika, thank you so much. Your American uncle is way cooler than mine. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see so much love in the room, such lovely things people say about each other. If I won an award, I think my family members would come on stage and say, please share OTP number, and then leave. I'm telling you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as we progress forward, this is the era of tycoons who are making bold bets and driving consolidation in entire industries. Which is why, fittingly this year, the award has gone to the leader of a global business empire that deeply is Indian at its core and its fabric. The winner of ET's Business Leader of the Year award is...
Few business leaders have shaped industries and redefined leadership like Kumar Mangalam Birla. Under his leadership, the Aditya Birla Group has evolved into a global powerhouse, spanning 40 countries and leading industries that shape economies. Ultratech cements India's infrastructure. Grasim drives the global textile industry as the leading producer of viscose fiber, and Hindalco's Novelis is the world's largest aluminium recycler. In telecom, Vodafone Idea's 18,000 crore rupee fundraise marks yet another milestone in his bold and strategic leadership. Since 1995, he has led the group's extraordinary rise from a $2 billion entity to a $66 billion global conglomerate. Tonight, the Economic Times celebrates Kumar Mangalam Birla, an architect of growth, a trailblazer in industry, and the recipient of the Business Leader of the Year award.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for the winner. I would request Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla to please come up on stage and receive the ET Business Leader of the Year award from our Finance Minister. Congratulations, but before we ask you to say a few words, we have a little bit of a surprise for you. You know, Mr. Birla, I'm going to request someone on stage, so I'm going to invite on stage Swatantra Microfin chairperson and Kumarji's daughter, the lovely and supremely talented Ananya Birla, to grace the stage and say a few words. Ananya, thank you so much for being here. Please share some contraband secrets about Mr. Birla with us.
Ma'am, sir, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, Papa, I think you're nervous about what I'm going to say. I still remember when you told me that you had won ET Business Leader of the Year for the 3rd time, a feat never achieved before. Your eyes were shining and you were so overjoyed. So just to give you guys a little bit of context, my dad absolutely loves the Economic Times. And he also truly loves our fraternity, each and every one of you. All of us in the family immediately cleared our calendars. Mom flew down for the day, Ma made herself available, and I bet Papa had already started deciding what he was going to wear. Something that he usually never cares about, but of course, when it comes to ET, everything becomes so special. Papa, you truly inspire me. I cannot imagine how hard it must have been to lose your father, Dadaji, at 27, such a young age, take over an entire empire when everyone had written you off, including ET, by the way. You have not only proved everyone wrong, and this is a testament that ET obviously agrees to, 3 times now, you have made the entire nation proud. No matter what, you have shown up to work every single day for the last 30 years. Through it all, and that is no joke. I don't know how you do it. Your discipline, dedication, and love for your work without having any expectation of outcome is something that inspires us all. Your team loves you, not only for the exceptional leader that you are, but for the beyond exceptional human being that you are. So we all obviously know about the exceptional businessman that you are. All of you here much better than I do. So I just want to take a quick minute to tell you about the type of father he is. Papa is my best friend, my confidant. I smile wide when someone says that I'm a tiny version of him. I tell him everything, and he just listens without judgment, while always giving me the best advice. Pa, you're my strength, my safe space, and honestly, not just for me or our family, India would not be where we are without all your hard work. You have driven us forward, and like you always tell me, without any shortcuts. On behalf of Ma, Mom, Aryaman, Advaitesha, and myself, we love you all so much. Congratulations, Papa.
Thank you so much, Ananya. That was beautiful. And now, the man himself, Kumarji, requests you to please say a few words.
The first time I won a prize on stage, I was in Standard 1, 1A to be precise. I won all the prizes that were to win that year. That pattern changed, of course, by the time I reached Standard 10, but that's another story. I was standing right in front of the chief guest, and the certificates and the medals kept piling up. I kept looking in the audience, scanning the audience, and I forgot to acknowledge the chief guest, leave alone to thank him. So I was called to the principal's office the next day. That's how our school worked. And I got a very sort of a reprimand, very strong reprimand for my bad behavior. You let the school down and all that drama. And you don't you realize what an important person the chief guest is. At the end of all of that, I said, and I said honestly, that I was looking at the smiling and proud faces of my parents. Does it really matter so much that I didn't shake hands with the chief guest? You don't know what happened to me after that. I don't even want to tell you. But some things remain the same. I come on stage today and this is like the Oscars for us, and I'm looking for the smile on my mother's face. My mother has been my conscience keeper. She has been my rock of Gibraltar. I've done some crazy things, and she has supported me through it all. I want to dedicate this award today to my mother. I want to thank my wife, Nirja, for always being there and for bringing up our three children so beautifully. Our three children, Ananya, Ariman, Vikram and Advaitesha, I'm just amazed at how fierily ambitious they are at their independence, not wanting to take help from their father, the hard work, also the fact that they believe in not taking shortcuts, and in many ways the three of them have helped me to grow up without even realizing it. So proud of them. If I have been able to turn up at work, like Ananya said, every day for 30 years and give my best through the day, every day, it's been possible only because of the grace and blessings of God. So I want to thank God for His kindness. There's lots to say and I'm getting a little emotional. I also want to say that some of you might know that I am the 6th generation in the family of the Birla's family of business builders. And there's something I want to share with you. This is something that I chanced upon a letter only 2 years ago. This is a letter from my great-grandfather, Mr. G.D. Birla, to the shareholders of Grasim way back in 1973. And allow me to read a short excerpt of that for you today. It says, and I quote, "How does one judge a company? Do the criteria depend solely on its profitability, its production figures, market share and product ratings, or is there some other aspect one must consider as well? Some deeper, warmer, more human aspect?" We have always believed that there is. We have always believed that what really matters is how much the company cares, how socially involved it is, to what extent it is concerned about improving the quality of life of the people around it, not just its own employees, but also the members of the community it lives in. I read this a couple of years ago by chance, and it struck me that this legacy, this letter written almost 50 years ago, actually captures the essence of the purpose of our group today. And what I'd like to say is that when there is a symbiotic relationship between legacy and purpose, that's when enduring institutions are born. Enduring institutions, as this crowd would know better than most others, are very few and very far in between. So we do believe that purpose is power. If we have achieved all that we have, and we've done some wonderful things in the last 30 years, it is because of our people, because of our teams. I'm blessed to have a wonderful team which has been with me for several years now. I've always said that AVG is a people's company. It is run by people, managed by people. I've been the only person in the family who's been there throughout for 30 years. It is a repository of trust. We always build a scaffold in the ecosystem to help people to succeed. It is also, it might surprise you to know actually that there are 7,000 people who've been with the company now for more than 20 years. And one-third of my management cadre today has been with the company for 20 years, grown through the ranks of the company. We are a meritocracy. People can grow in the company based on their merit. I really am blessed to have people like this in the company, and I don't for a minute forget that I stand here because of them. I look taller because of them. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart and their families. Without them, ABG would not have been what it is today. Finally, something about India. I think that from my vantage point of leading a conglomerate that's spread over 40 countries, I'd like to say that there are two regions that we think of as perma bets, as we call it, or permanent bets. One, of course, is India by a very long margin. The other, for many reasons, is North America. It is a U3 world, like I call it. U3 meaning unstable, unpredictable, unorthodox. The conversation between two world leaders on a very sensitive topic, right in front of the whole world. I mean, it can't get more unorthodox by that. But having said that, the India story remains firm. And I do think that all of us must lean our capital forward. Many of the problems which we think are unique to us, unique to the Indian economy, are actually problems that exist in several large economies across the world. And I believe that the way to invest, the way to compete globally is by investing and not by waiting it out. Thank you once again. I think this is as much for the work that needs to be done. There's much more to do, to imagine, to build, to transform, and a lot more fun to be had. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, sir. I would request you and Ananya to please, we needed a photograph with you and our wonderful ministers and Mr. Jain. Ananya, I request you to step forward also, get a nice photo. Round of applause, and thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations once again, sir. Thank you so much, Ananya. Now, ladies and gentlemen, ET's Business Reformer Award has celebrated important policymakers over the years who have left a deep imprint on the nation's journey. And this year's winner and his contributions are all too well known for all of us. Let's take a look at who the winner is.
A visionary, innovator, and reformer, few leaders have transformed India's infrastructure and technology landscape like Ashwini Vaishnaw. As Minister of Railways, Electronics and IT, and Information and Broadcasting, his bold leadership is shaping India's next era of growth. From fast-tracking the Kavach safety system and Vande Bharat trains to leading the historic modernization of Indian railways, his vision is clear: an accident-resistant railway network by 2030. As an innovator, he has propelled made-in-India mobile phone shipments to record highs, while PLI schemes for IT hardware and telecom are revolutionizing domestic production. As a reformer, he is positioning India as a semiconductor powerhouse, securing billion-dollar investments. For his fearless reforms and his commitment to building a modern India, the Economic Times proudly honors Ashwini Vaishnaw with the prestigious Business Reformer of the Year award.
Congratulations, sir. As the Business Reformer of the Year, I would request Mr. Vaishnaw to receive his award from the Honorable Finance Minister. Congratulations, sir. A few words, please.
Thank you, E.T. Thank you, jury. I am really humbled, and this is really a very big honor for me. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, who gave me this platform. Without his confidence, without his trust, without the opportunity that he has given, it wouldn't have been possible to be here on this stage and to be able to contribute to the country's growth. I also would like to thank Honorable Finance Minister, because none of the reforms would have been possible without her unwavering support. Ma'am, your support on the telecom reforms was phenomenal. The way you let us, the way you guided us into the new construction of railway stations, whether it is manufacturing railway rolling stock at such a large scale, each and every step you have been a big source of strength. I would also like to thank so many of my cabinet colleagues who have been constantly guiding me, because I had very little political experience, just a few years of politics. The guidance that I kept on receiving from so many of my colleagues, thank you, all of you. I would also like to thank my parents for giving me the values, for very strong belief in certain principles that my parents gave me. I also would like to thank very strongly, from the bottom of my heart, my family members, my wife and 2 children, who have been very strong source of strength for me, and the kind of sacrifice they have done. When Prime Minister gave me this responsibility, the first thing that my family members told me was that we are not going to shift to the official accommodation in Delhi, because this is a rare opportunity Prime Minister has given you. So give your 100% to the country. Don't even think of us. Give your 100% to the family. Thank you all the friends who have contributed to this journey. Thank you very much, E.T. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, and congratulations once again. No, sir, please don't leave. Sir, ऐसे मत करिए. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now on to the big one, the Economic Times Lifetime Achievement Award. This award celebrates a life's work that has gone into institution building and has left an enduring legacy for all of us. And the winner this year is...
Some leaders build companies, but a rare few shape industries. Venu Srinivasan is one of them. Taking charge of TVS Motor in 1979, he transformed it from a small business into the world's 4th largest two-wheeler manufacturer by volume. Today, TVS Motor's revenue exceeds $4.5 billion, with a presence in over 80 countries. A Padma Bhushan recipient, he is also responsible for pioneering total quality management in the Indian automotive industry, building cutting-edge in-house R&D and leading landmark partnerships, including BMW Motorrad and the acquisition of Norton Motorcycles. Beyond business, his impact extends to 2,500 villages through the Srinivasan Services Trust, a testament to his unwavering commitment to society. Venu Srinivasan's extraordinary contributions to Indian manufacturing, leadership and corporate social responsibility made him the Economic Times choice for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Congratulations, Mr. Srinivasan. Apart from his celebrated contributions to industry, he is also the father of 2 remarkable young CEOs. Mr. Srinivasan, thank you so much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, a standing ovation is due for Mr. Srinivasan and his incredible legacy. Sir, before we ask you to say a few words, I'm going to request Malika Srinivasan, CEO TAFE, to please come up on stage and speak about the legend, her husband. Thank you for being here, ma'am.
Good evening. Over the years, I have been, and since the very early days when Venu began his life's mission, I have been with him as he won many accolades, the first perhaps among them being the ET Emerging Business Award way back. I've had the pleasure of being there to applaud, to appreciate, and to be inspired. But until today, no one has ever asked me to speak about him. Thank you, Samir, for this interesting touch to this evening's function and for the invitation to be here. Let me begin by saying on behalf of my family, and I have both the children here today, Lakshmi and Sudarshan, my own behalf, Venu, we are very proud of you. Right from the time when he started his entrepreneurial journey, three things I believe have defined him. First, quality, and we saw a lot of that. It's often been called a passion. I would describe it, I think, perhaps more rightfully as an obsession. But even more importantly, Venu genuinely cares for the people, about his people. The people at the shop floor are the core of the company, and he's always gone to great length in good times and in bad to ensure their welfare and prosperity. A true believer in the development and empowerment of people, his far-sighted approach of investing in them through higher education abroad, creation of infrastructure, and access to personal development had many a skeptic, including me, wondering. The steadfast commitment to the TVS value system that he cherished, deepened, and institutionalized forms the bedrock for further sustained growth. To me personally, his perseverance and focus have been awe-inspiring, with many a lesson imbibed. Finally, if one were to reflect on what perhaps gives Venu the greatest satisfaction, it is undoubtedly the power that successful business gives in bringing about transformational impact on society and India's villages. He has used this ability to transform lives at scale and would love to continue to do more for others. Venu, thank you. You've been a great life partner. It's been a great joy for me to be here today at this prestigious ET Awards function. And ma'am, Honorable Finance Minister, your presence and participation makes it even more special indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And sir, ma'am, please stay on stage. And sir, we can't allow you to leave without saying a few words, please. Thank you.
Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala ji, Honorable Minister for Railways, and others, I don't know all his portfolios, Ashwini ji, my good, almost childhood friend, Samir. I'm indeed deeply honored, but at the same time, there's a touch of humility and wonderment at being here and receiving this award today. If I have to say a few words, I have to start with my grandfather, who was the founder of the group, TV Sundaram Iyengar. It was the values that he set of trust, values and service, as he was known, that really laid the foundation for the group to grow generation after generation, and now into the fourth generation. The hard work, discipline, ethics were the foundation of TVS, and overall and above all that, the customer was God, and he was the source of our business. But when I look back at all the vicissitudes of life and in business, it is finally people who make the business. And it is all my colleagues, all the associates who have strived hard to build quality, to win customer satisfaction awards year after year, to 7th year of JD Power Awards, is possible only because of sheer dedication and commitment of people in the company to serve customers. But ultimately, TVS was always based on trust with society as much as trust with employees, trust with customers, or trust with society. And the most cherished part of my work is that we could serve villages in 2,500 villages, almost 1.5 million people. Finally, I'd like to say that through all this time, that Malika has been a partner, not only in life, but also we are shared. She runs her own business, I run my own business, but we always were there for each other through thick and thin. And finally, I have to recognize both Lakshmi and Sudarshan who are here today, for that they have taken on the mantle and will continue the tradition for time to come. Last but not least, I am a devotee of Sri Satya Sai Baba, and it is his grace and blessings that I have achieved whatever I have done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Srinivasan. It was wonderful, ma'am, to hear you speak, and it was an honor to witness that beautiful bond you both share. Thank you both so much. Congratulations once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to a very, very special award to a very, very special, actually let me rephrase, to a very special phenomenon, the Jewel of India Award. When the jury gathered this year, the members unanimously decided to institute this special award and bestow it upon a once-in-a-generation personality. And there is only one. Take a look.
Few names command as much respect. Few legacies inspire as profoundly. A visionary, a nation builder, and a philanthropist. Ratan Tata was more than a business leader. He was a force of transformation. At just 17, he set out to shape his destiny, studying architecture at Cornell and honing his business acumen at Harvard. But his true education began on the shop floor of Tata Steel, where leadership wasn't learned from boardrooms, but from the very workers who built India. His rise was never just about building a business. It was about building a better society. Under his leadership, a $5.7 billion company became a $100 billion global giant, not just through acquisitions and expansions, but through a deep-rooted belief that the success of a company is inseparable from the well-being of the community it serves. He placed India firmly on the world stage, acquiring Jaguar Land Rover, Tetley, Chorus, expanding TCS, and launching the Tata Nano, an audacious dream to make mobility accessible to millions. But perhaps his most profound acts of humanity were the ones closest to his heart. His deep affection for dogs, who have found both shelter and love in him, and his unwavering support during the darkest days of the 26/11 terrorist attacks. He was a pilot, an innovator, a dreamer, but most importantly, a man who believed that the greatest legacy a leader can leave is a better world. For a lifetime of bold leadership, relentless innovation, and an unwavering commitment to India's progress. The Economic Times proudly honors Ratan Tata with the Jewel of India Award.
This is our heartfelt pranam and show of awe for a giant who was way ahead of his time. I request Chairman Tata Trusts, Mr. Noel Tata, to please grace the stage and accept this award from the Honorable Finance Minister. Being here, sir, request a few words from you.
Honorable Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, Honorable Minister of Railways, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw, Mr. and Mrs. Sameer Jain, members of the jury, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege for me to accept this award to honor the life and legacy of Ratan Tata, and I wish to thank the jury for bestowing this special award in his memory. I can only touch upon the qualities that make Ratan's life and legacy worthy of remembrance. What stands out are his humility, his dignity and grace, with which he navigated a world that he grew to accept as his own. Aligned with these attributes were his resolve and a profound sense of responsibility to the Tata Group and its heritage. Left to himself, Ratan may well have chosen a different pathway to the one that saw him nurture and lead the Tata Group to new horizons. He had studied to be an architect, and he wanted to be an architect. But call it chance, call it destiny, he came to be in the milieu of business and industry. In an interview from 2012, he said, and I quote, "Architecture can be a fount of extraordinary motivation and unending frustration. In my life and business, motivation and frustration have gone together." His taking over as steward and guardian of the group from JRD coincided with the liberalization of India's economy. It was a period of promise and possibilities, and also the risk of pitfalls. Ratan had big shoes to fill, and he did it his way. There was no dearth of challenges confronting Ratan in doing what was right for the group. He accomplished that while steering the group to fresh frontiers and unprecedented heights. The respect that he commanded within India and on the international stage was in no small measure due to the nature of person he was: considerate, benevolent, and unpretentious. A 2011 profile in The Economist described him thus: "He owns less than 1% of the group that bears his family name, but he is a titan nonetheless, the most powerful businessman in India and one of the most influential in the world." While it was his achievement in business that made Ratan famous, there was a lot more to him. His vision for the Tata Trust has seen the institution enhance and expand its philanthropic efforts. In his individual capacity as well, he was forever willing to lend a helping hand to people and causes. Empathy came naturally to him, and this was evident to the many whose lives he touched. There is no greatness where there is no simplicity, goodness, and truth, said Leo Tolstoy. Measure Ratan Tata by these characteristics, and there can be no doubting what he brought to the world he lived in and what we have lost with his passing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tata. Thank you very much. With that, may I now request Tata Sons Chairman and the freshly knighted Sir N. Chandrasekharan to kindly grace the stage and say a few words.
Honorable Nirmala ji, Honorable Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, Mr. Samir Jain. Friends, it's a great honor to be here and say a few words on Sri Ratan Tata, on he being recognized as Jewel of India by the iconic Economic Times Awards. I thank the jury and Mr. Samir Jain for this great honor. Ratan Tata is a very special person. I've had the privilege of doing my full career with the Tata Group. I joined the group in 1986 as an intern. For anyone like me who would have joined the group as a professional, an opportunity to shake hands with Ratan Tata or take a selfie would have been a dream. And I was fortunate not only to grow in the group and succeed him and work with him closely, and over the last few years we became very close friends. And he is probably so unique that he is not only most respected and admired by all of India, but he is adored and loved by everyone. Everyone who came into contact with him has a story to tell. It is an Economic Times Award, so normally one will tend to think about sharing financial details on revenues, market cap, profits. But knowing him closely, I don't think it mattered to him that much. He was not a person who can be easily understood. You have to really experience him to understand him fully, because he's not a man who speaks freely. He chose his words carefully, and when he spoke them, there was a lot of clarity, and it had the depth of whatever he wanted to say. I have experienced it on multiple occasions. I've written about it, but I'll say it once again. In 2017, when I took over as a chairman of Tata Group, I wanted to renovate Bombay House. Bombay House had not been touched for very, very, very long time. So there were many people who told me, don't do this, Ratan will not like it. Nobody will say Ratan, they'll say Mr. R&T will not like it. And one shareholder told me, temple ko koi touch karta hai kya? So I went to him and then told him, Mr. Tata, I would like to renovate Bombay House. There was a pause, didn't say anything for a few minutes. Then he said, by renovate, you mean vacate? I said, yes, sir, we will vacate and it'll get renovated, then we'll come back. Then he said, very thoughtfully, may I ask you something? And I still remember, he wasn't sure whether to ask me or not. But then he asked me, may I ask you something? I said, yes, sir. Where will the dogs go? And I said to him, sir, we will look after them. We will take all the dogs. There are 7 dogs in Bombay House. And then we will bring them back because we will build a kennel for them and they will have a very safe home. See, for him, the small things mattered. He always evaluated or looked at anyone not with the big ideas alone, but what was the attention to the small things. He cared for the people who cannot defend themselves. In a way, he was defender of the defenseless. That set him apart. And I've seen it on so many occasions. He never said anything just for the sake of saying, like he never actioned anything for the sake of actioning. And his compassion was well known when the terrorist attack happened in Bombay. He met with every single family member of the families who were affected during the terrorist attacks, leave alone the welfare trust he founded and so on and so forth. The biggest gift he gave to people was the attention. It didn't matter who you are. I don't recall even one instance. In fact, in the last few years, he was not that well, and I almost met him every week, sometimes twice a week, and probably had a dinner 3 or 4 times a month. There was not a single occasion where he did not come to the door to receive me, or he did not come back to the door to see me off. I will tell him many times, sir, you don't have to do this. But he will insist. And that's a courtesy I can tell you, anyone who has interacted with him will tell you. And for him, doing the right thing was so important. I would say he was a man who constantly knew to ask himself, am I doing the right thing? Every time he was taking a decision, if it's a relationship, he was very good at putting himself in the other person's shoes to make sure that he's being fair. And even when we discuss topics, he will always raise this issue. What would it mean for the other person? So he was an extraordinary person. You can call him a businessman, you can call him a philanthropist, you can call him a a startup champion, of lover of dogs. He had all these qualities. But I would say, one thing that I will always remember is that sentence, where will the dogs go? As we build the future, let us not forget to ask, where will the dogs go? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Chandra. Thank you very much. I would now request Ms. Sitharaman, Mr. Vaishnaw and Mr. Jain to please return to their seats and enjoy the grand finale. And thank you so much for so graciously handing out these well-deserved awards. Thank you.